Hey, do you play Ultrakill? Do you want to speedrun like the best of them? Well, here in this very unscripted guide, I will show you how to move across the map at Mach Jesus. But first, let's start off with the basics, such as basic slide hopping. By default, your average walking speed is 16.5 units per second, with little to no exception, except for when you turn around, where it can sometimes increase or decrease depending on really how heavily you flick. Your sliding speed is 24 units per second, sometimes 26 if you're going diagonally or using an input to try to manipulate that speed. But on average, 24 units per second. If you jump out of a slide, it can go up to about as high as 30. Therefore, if you were to time out your slide to the exact moment you hit the ground after you've already slide hopped, you can effectively stack up your speed, your momentum, allowing you to get up to a speed of around 71 to 73 units per second if you do it consistently enough for long enough. You'll know you hit the ground when the camera seems to almost stop going forward for a split second. As you can tell, I seem to almost hit the ground and then very briefly stop before suddenly increasing in speed, effectively preventing myself from losing momentum while hitting the ground. This is the same mechanic as essentially bunny hopping, so it's not too complicated, but it is something that everyone should at the very least learn how to do. The next mechanic you will learn is slightly more complicated, but just as easy to pull off after some practice, and that is simply slam storage. To try and accurately describe what slam storage is, it's the act of slamming and jumping at the exact same time while clung to a wall. So in this case, when you're sliding off the wall, you'll know when you hear that little scraping sound effect and see these particles, you want to hit Control and Space at the same time, allowing you to bounce off and throwing these downward momentum lines that normally show up in the middle of a slam. What this allows you to do is, as soon as you hit the ground, is jump, and it will immediately skyrocket you. Essentially turning your downward momentum into upward momentum. So, that in mind, when you're using the slam storage, you can also slide hop directly out of it, linking it back to slide hopping, putting you at an instant 73 units per second. Essentially your peak non-launched movement speed. Slam storage is such an effective technique for many reasons for gaining momentum, but the number one reason is how quickly it gets you out of the elevator. You see, as the timer goes down, as soon as the elevator opens, what you want is as much speed and momentum as you can get from the elevator itself. So what you can do is jump up here, slam storage, hold Control, and all of a sudden, you're zooming right out of there at a peak of 70 units per second. Allowing you to bully V2 ever more. Damn, that could have been my any rank time, holy shit. Of course, slam storage isn't the only way to build up momentum for slide hopping. You can also do it by simply using the rocket launcher, and something that I personally call rocket skipping. By simply shooting a rocket directly downwards from a slide, you can pretty consistently manage to push yourself up to 60 units per second almost instantly. That was a bad example. 50 to 60, just about. Depending on the timing of your jump, it will determine almost entirely how effective this technique is. In this case, I was able to get it all the way up to 60 pretty much instantly. In fact, if you watch some of my speed runs, you'll probably notice I'm doing this pretty frequently, and on my most recent 7.4 speed run, I tried to do that while standing on a railing and completely butchered it, but that's besides the point. By simply using the rocket launcher to burst yourself forward, you can get a pretty instantaneous boost of speed, and it also knocks you up higher than a slam storage would if you were using it to gain forward momentum. You see, the rocket launcher, much like your ex and your bitch wife, will manipulate you and will make you enjoy it. Another interesting aspect of the rocket is the fact that you can whiplash your own rockets, which can then be used if, say, you're falling, to quickly ride your rocket without ever having to freeze frame it or set up a quick and easy way to get on it. You could just fire down and press the whiplash at the same time, and all of a sudden you're on it. This doesn't work, however, if you're going backwards, as the bottom of the rocket will be what hits you and not the part that you actually stand on. If you want it to work like this, you want to be moving forward or just be going straight down. But right there, I don't know what happened. Effectively, this technique can be used mid-level as a way to get back to the arena without ever having to, say, use your dashes. You can also use this as a quick and easy way to gain forward momentum by simply hitting it with a malicious rail cannon in what is usually called a core nuke. Giving you an instantaneous 150 units per second. You can also do this while riding it. In fact, if you've watched my 7.4 speedrun, I did this very same technique to get up to the platform on the EarthMover's leg, just ever so slightly quicker. What this all looks like altogether is something like this. The next wonderful piece of tech I'll be teaching you, and probably the last one for this video, will be Whiplash Cancellation. Whiplash Cancellation is, simply put, the act of pressing the whiplash input a second time just before you reach your intended target. So in this case, there's my intended target, I throw, I release, it pulls me into it, and I stop because this is the green whiplash point and not the blue one, which normally pulls me straight through. However, using Whiplash Cancellation, if I press the Whiplash button a second time just before I fully reach my target, it will release, causing me to be sent flying past it. While simultaneously preserving the momentum. This can also be done against enemies, such as the malicious face. Got a little too excited there. In levels such as 5-1, this allows you to pretty easily speed through most of the intro. Attached to everything I've shown you so far, Whiplash Cancellation can be used for a quick and easy way to fly around the arena while simultaneously avoiding getting hit. Now, of course, all of this is pretty much just the basics of movement. There's a lot more complicated stuff that you can learn, but this right here will pretty effectively enhance your movement at the very least. It's essentially all I use to gain some form of high amounts of speed. Rocket skipping in particular, I use that all the fucking time, and it pretty much carries most of my speed runs when it comes down to just getting from point A to point B. So if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, subscribe, maybe send this to somebody else who may need this video. And if you really enjoyed my content, then feel free to follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zellencollie. I don't stream that frequently, but I do it frequently enough that I might as well throw it out there. And I also have a Twitter called Zellencollie Real. And yeah, that's it. If you enjoyed, I hope to see you again. Have a good one.